Welcome back. It's Finance Friday, another special edition of Money Girl, where I answer your burning money questions. Today's topic comes from Scott, who says, I've contributed to my 401k for many years and have a decent balance. I'm unsure if I should keep investing the same amount each year or make some sacrifices and contribute more. My question is, how do I know if I'm saving enough for retirement? Scott, thank you so much for your question. This is a really important one. Knowing if you're on a path to financial success is critical for keeping you motivated and making sure that you're making wise financial decisions. This podcast will review ways to understand how much you need to save for retirement and if you're on track to achieve it. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining me on episode 865. I'm Laura Adams, an award-winning author, finance spokesperson, money speaker, founder of the Money Stack newsletter, and host of this podcast with over 43 million downloads. If you're getting value from the free content that we love creating, do us a quick favor and submit a 5-star rating or a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening. And if you have a money question you'd like me to cover, please leave it on our voicemail at 302-364-0308. Or you can do what Scott did and use my contact page at lauradadams.com. And while you're there, be sure to sign up for the free Money Stack newsletter at lauradadams.com. Okay, so how much money do I need to retire? This is such a fundamental question. Saving for retirement is the granddaddy of all financial goals because, it requires a considerable nest egg to ensure you never run out of money. But how much you need to retire isn't a one-size-fits-all answer. You can't say, it's 500,000, it's $1 million, it's $2 million. It's different for everybody because everyone's financial situation, their health, and, their wishes are different. But we're going to go through 6 steps that you can use to estimate how much money you need for retirement and if you're saving too much or too little. So the first step is to estimate your retirement spending. To know if you're saving enough, you have to calculate a retirement goal based on your desired income, based on your spending needs. So a secure retirement is one with enough savings and investments to preserve some or all of your pre-retirement income. For instance, many retirement planning experts recommend that you estimate spending 80% of your pre-retirement income in retirement. And that's because you won't have certain expenses like your retirement contributions or maybe a mortgage payment or commuting to a job after you stop working. However, depending on inflation and your desired lifestyle in retirement, you may have higher retirement expenses or even some new costs like travel, hobbies, and higher health care. So in that case, you might need to estimate a retirement income that is equal to 100% or even more than that of your current income. All right, the second step is to consider your longevity. So I know, this is pretty deep, but how long you live is, of course, the biggest unknown when you're planning for retirement. But it's really one of the most critical factors in saving enough. If you believe that you have a short lifespan, you may not need to save as much, but certainly we want to err on a conservative side and have more than we need rather than less if you do end up living longer than you expect. The average U.S. lifespan is 79, but if you're relatively healthy at full retirement, statistics show you'll live well into your 80s. And if you have a good family health history and you take care of yourself, you could need retirement income well into your 90s. So think about your health status and your family health history and just take an educated guess about how many years you'll need income in retirement. Also remember that women tend to live longer than men with an average life expectancy of 81 versus 76. The third step is to decide when you want to retire. So you have to have a target for when you want to begin your retirement, or at least work less than you do now. The average age of retirement in the United States is 65 for men and 62 for women. Most people use the age when they'll start receiving Social Security benefits as a default. But if you accumulate a large nest egg, Retiring much earlier is possible. If you retire early and you live long, you might need retirement income for like 30 or even 40 years. So remember that the earlier you need income, the more you're going to need to save. The fourth step is to know your future income sources. Knowing how much Social Security retirement benefits or other income, like a pension, is critical for accurate retirement planning. Social Security may replace 30% of your pre-retirement income if you're a typical worker. Few companies offer pensions, but there are professionals like teachers and government workers who may receive a generous guaranteed benefit from their employer. If you're starting your career, you may not have enough information about your future Social Security benefits to, fully consider it in your plan. However, it's still essential to understand how the system works. Social Security is an excellent source of income for most eligible workers in the United States. The program is actually a group of benefits for people who are retired, disabled, or survive a relative who was receiving benefits. Note that workers covered by a different system, like the federal government and railroad employees or state workers, may qualify for a pension, and if so, they're typically not eligible for Social Security retirement benefits. They're paying into a different system. So Social Security is funded by payroll taxes and the self-employment tax. You must work for 40 quarters or at least 10 years to qualify for it. And the calculation for how much you'll receive is based on the average of your highest 35 years of earnings. If you worked under 35 years, that's okay. The missing years will get factored in as zero income. And if you worked more, only your highest earning years get considered in the calculation. The Social Security retirement benefit you receive varies widely depending on the age you claim it. So the full retirement age has gradually increased from 65 to 66 if you were born between 1937 and 1959. And if you were born in 1960 or later, your full retirement age is 67. However, no matter when you were born, you can elect to take early retirement benefits as soon as age 62. Now, the problem with that is you will receive a permanently reduced benefit. So it will be reduced for the rest of your life. So early retirement isn't always the right decision. It may be for some people, but you really need to evaluate it carefully. To increase your Social Security payout, you can delay retirement until age 70. If you were a high earner, and let's say you retired at age 70 in 2023, your maximum monthly benefit would have been about $4,500 a month. So that's about 25% more monthly income than if you started benefits at your full retirement age, and it's 77% more than if you had taken early retirement. So that's pretty significant. So if it makes sense to wait several years for your benefits, it's a simple way to lock in a more secure retirement. And by the way, that adjusts annually for inflation for the rest of your life. If you're a middle-class American who fully retired in 2023, you can expect an average monthly benefit in the neighborhood of just under $1,800. And the average retirement benefit is about $1,700 for those who claimed an early retirement in 2023. If you want to learn more about Social Security, go paperless, check your earnings history, and see your estimated future retirement income, create an online account at ssa.gov. You can review your reported earnings for errors because any mistakes could keep you from receiving all the benefits you're entitled to. So you want to review that periodically. The fifth step is to evaluate how much you've saved. If your employer offers a tax-advantaged workplace retirement plan like a 401k, 403b, or 457 plan, that's the best place to save. And if you don't have a retirement plan at work, or maybe you're self-employed, you've got other options like an IRA, which is an individual retirement account. You've got a SEP IRA if you're self-employed, or a solo 401k if you're self-employed. All of these plans cut taxes and make it easier to build a nest egg. Your current retirement account balance significantly affects how large your nest egg will be. The sooner you begin saving, the more compounding interest works in your favor to grow your balance. All right, the sixth step is to estimate your future savings. So once you estimate your future expenses, how long you'll have those expenses, and what your future income needs will be or what it needs to be, you can see the gap that you've got to cover with your own savings. Now, a general rule of thumb, if you retire in your 60s, is that a 4% withdrawal rate, adjusted for inflation, should allow you to avoid outliving your money. The closer you are to retirement, the more precise your calculations need to be. Again, 4% is just a general rule of thumb for those retiring at average ages. The primary factor you can control is how much you contribute to a retirement plan now. If you start relatively early, saving at least 10% to 15% of your gross income in a tax-advantaged retirement account should help set you up for a comfortable retirement. But if you get a late start, you may need to save 20 to 25% or more to catch up on retirement savings. Your average pre-retirement investment return also determines how quickly your balance can grow. For example, investing $200 a month for 40 years with a 3% return would grow to $185,000. But if you got an 8% return, you'd have $700,000. So, Scott, you need to determine if you're saving enough to accumulate a large enough nest egg by the time you want to retire. Most people have to accumulate about 8 to 10 times their annual income to generate enough retirement income. For example, if you earn $100,000, having at least $1 million to kick off your retirement is a good goal. Let's say you earn $100,000 and you want to retire at age 67 with 80% of your pre-retirement income, or $80,000. You can likely count on getting about $30,000 a year from Social Security, and so the remaining $50,000 would have to come from your savings. Assuming you'll live 30 years and continue earning a conservative rate of return on your nest egg, getting income equal to 5% per year is reasonable. So if you divide your annual desired income by that rate, that will give you a total savings target of $1 million. So taking $40,000 as the income you want from your portfolio divided by 0.05 gives you $1 million total nest egg target. Scott, many retirement planning unknowns exist, but these basic calculations can give you an estimated goal. So if you're not on pace to have what you'll need for retirement, it's definitely time to increase your savings rate. Before we go, here's a quick reminder to subscribe to The Money Stack, my weekly newsletter, when you visit lauradadams.com. It's filled with money tips, tools, news, challenges, and things I enjoy. You can subscribe for free or support this show and become a paid member with access to live educational events. That's all for now. I'll talk to you soon. Until then, here's to living a richer life. Money Girl is a quick and dirty tips podcast, and I want to thank our amazing team. Steve Rickyberg audio engineers the show. Brandon Gachus is our director of podcasts. Holly Hutchins is our digital operations specialist. Morgan Christensen is our advertising operations specialist. And Davina Tomlin is our marketing and publicity associate.